I see a bunch of people posting rich kid check. I think that's pretty lame. I want to see people starting a business. So we can start the new trend as business check or hustle check. Let's do it.
So in my previous video, I did pasta nails, and then at the end of the video, I asked you guys if I should cook it, and here we are today. Of course, you gotta season that water a little bit, and it's time to dip the nail in there. So at this part, I started burning the nail. My house almost caught on fire. And it's looking good so far. And obviously we can't eat plain noodles. We gotta add some sauce on there. So yeah, I'm making lunch for my kids. Looking cute or whatever. Obviously we gotta decorate the plate a little bit. You know, you feel me? And there you go. Bon appetit. I hope you guys enjoyed this, and my kids are about to eat this, and by my kids, I mean y'all.
Part 3 of how I got sexually harassed twice while working at Walmart. So like I said, he wouldn't let me out of the car, but then we got back to work. And then he had the audacity to keep asking if I was okay when he literally just sexually harassed me in the car. So I went to the bathroom, literally had a whole fucking mental breakdown. I called my mom to come get me because I was not finna stay there. So the next time that I went back to work, I grabbed my stuff and I gave it to one of the workers to go and give to a manager and tell them that I was quitting. Well, one of the managers caught me walking out the back door and she was like, "What's wrong?" So I immediately broke down. I started telling her what was going on. And then a crowd of people came around us being nosy as fuck, listening to what I was saying. And she was like, "You're not quitting, I'm gonna take care of this." So she sent me home and she said that she would call me whenever it was taken care of. So 2 days goes past, I'm like, why the fuck hasn't she called? So then I call and I found out that she fired me. So I reported everything to Walmart ethic team and they just closed my case. They basically didn't do shit about it. Oh, and Jordan wasn't really a manager, he was a supervisor. Should I try to take this to court? Storytime about how I was sexually harassed twice while working at Walmart. So a little background information. This all happened last year. So originally I was working in a warehouse, but whenever COVID hit, lost my job, I had to get a new job. So I applied at Walmart in the electronics section because they paid more money, period. And on my second day, I finally went and started working in electronics. So they had asked some of the employees to show me around. So while this one employee was showing me around, he took me to the back where the photos were. Well, whenever I got back there, this employee named Terry said, "Oh, she's mine." I just laughed and brushed it off because I felt super uncomfortable and awkward. And he knew I was underage because my name tag was yellow. But even after that, he still kept coming up to me, calling me weird names, just being a total creep. Like, he would keep coming up to me and get super close to me to the point where I could literally feel him fucking breathing on my face. So of course I told my manager about it. They said he's done this before, so I was like, why the fuck is he still here? So they moved me to garden. And while I was working in the gardening section, I met this guy named Jordan. Like for a part 2.
Part 2. So my boyfriend butt dials me and doesn't realize I can hear the entire conversation. I could hear him talking to a woman. He was promising her that he would break up with me and move into the new apartment with her. And when she said, "I won't believe it until you actually do it," he called her by her name. This is when I realized he's talking to his ex. The same ex he told me was toxic and abusive. He also told her that he only loved her and that the only reason he hadn't broken up with me yet was because he was afraid I would harm myself. And that's when they dropped the bomb. She says, "Well, I'm 8 weeks along. You gotta hurry up." She was pregnant. By the way, I listened to their conversation for 10 minutes. I knew that he was at his business, so I decided to go over there and see if I could find them. Finally, I spot his car and drive up right next to it. Roll down the window and I say, "Check your phone." This man didn't even know what to say. He grabbed his phone and he looks at it. The look on his face when he realized I listened to the whole 10-minute conversation. Part 3 is up. Part 3. So my lying, cheating boyfriend butt dials me and I could hear the entire conversation he was having with his ex, who he was cheating on me with, and who was pregnant. He gets out of his car and runs over to me. He tries to open my car door and asks me to get out, but of course I didn't. My cars and my windows were locked. He started hitting my car window telling me to get out, and I could tell he was pissed because he got caught. So guess what I did? I drove straight to his mama's house and I told her everything. He was a mama's boy and I knew this would crush him. So his mom calls him and tells him to come straight to her house. He started swearing up and down that he only said those things because he's afraid of his crazy ex. And he doesn't want her to take the baby away from him. His mom and him convinced me to stay in the relationship. We're still together. I don't know what to do. Should I stay with him or should I leave him? Story time about how I found out my boyfriend was seeing his ex. And yes, he's still my boyfriend. We haven't broken up. I just don't know what to do. Well, we've been together for 6 months. I met him through some friends, and every time we hang out with those friends, someone always tells me, "Hey, your boyfriend was hitting on so-and-so." And of course, I just never wanted to believe it. He's really attractive, young, and owns owns his own business, and I know that attracts a lot of women. So when we first started dating, I gave him the option to have an open relationship because I knew that he was surrounded by women that really wanted to be with him, and he also just had a really social life. He said absolutely not because he didn't want to share me with anyone else. I said, okay, then we're committed. And he said, yeah, we're committed. 2 weeks ago, we decided to move in together and we got a really nice apartment. Right now, we're actually in the process of moving in and buying furniture. Well, 3 days ago, my boyfriend butt dialed me. He didn't realize I could hear the entire conversation he was having over the phone. You'll never guess what.
Story time, my craziest client experience. I'm just gonna give you a couple info before I get into the story. My client, she's around 65, 70, and she was also in the sex industry. So with that being said, I was doing her nails and she always likes her nails pointy because that's what she said her clients liked. So I'm just doing my job, doing her nails. And then I get to the filing part and she receives a FaceTime call. I really didn't think much of it. I'm just minding my business, filing her nail. And then out of nowhere, she just straight up pulls out her chi-chis. And she asks the guy for something in return. And then she asks me if I want to see. I passed. And then she hung up and she said that's one of her clients she's about to see later. And that she wanted her nails extra pointy. Who knows what they were up to.
Bad guy. Wait, hold on, I messed up. Let me try again.
Bad guy. Duh.
Around a year ago, my husband anxiously sat me down and told me he had discovered he had a long-lost daughter. According to him, he had an ex he got pregnant as a teenager, but she moved away before she started showing and without telling him. She gave birth and kept his daughter a secret from him. Eventually, she put Kat up for adoption. Kat now tracked him down and wanted to get to know him. As I am unable to conceive on my own, I was very enthusiastic and encouraging of them meeting. I asked him about DNA testing or speaking to the mother or adoptive parents. He told me all of that would come in due time, but based on the details she shared with him, he was 90% sure she was his biological daughter. Their first few visits together were private, but eventually we had a big dinner at my house. My husband has seen Kat numerous times since then, both with and without me present. About a week ago, a young man I've never met before messaged me on Facebook. He was Kat's ex-boyfriend and he wanted me to know that this was the woman my husband had been sleeping with. He must have misunderstood Kat's relationship with my husband. When I asked my husband about it, he started crying. He thought I went through his phone and found the text messages between him and Kat. Messages when she was in character, which is how he segued into telling me that they're in a fake, incestuous daddy-daughter relationship.
Story time. So on New Year's, my friend and I went to a house party, and she ends up leaving to go to the bathroom. But when she comes out like 3 to 5 minutes later, she's just like, "Guys, help!" So like I look at her, I'm like, "What's wrong?" And she's like, "Shh, I broke the toilet." I follow her to the bathroom. The toilet bowl is filled to the rim with water, and there's just 3 pieces of toilet paper just chilling on top. And I'm like, "What did you do?" She starts freaking out, and she's, "The people before me didn't flush. I thought it was okay to flush, but it wasn't okay." So one of our other friends comes in, here's the story, and she's like, "Okay, hold on, I'm gonna go get the house owner." And my friend starts freaking out, being like, "No, don't tell him, he's gonna kill me." Our friend gets him anyway, and he comes in unbuttoning his shirt. He's just like, "Did someone call a plumber?" And then he sees the toilet.
So part 2 to me almost becoming a stepmom at the age of 15. So when he asked me about liking the gender reveal photo, I just decided to go ahead and play it dumb and be like, what? And then he tried to act like that text was meant for someone else. And then I go, are you sure you didn't want to ask me about your kid? He was literally so embarrassed and thought that I would think of him differently. But he told me that him and that girl broke up, so I honestly didn't care. I was just like, so I could potentially be his stepmom. And he was like, yeah, I would actually love that. So we continue to snap and talk as normal and start to date. I caught feelings for Dean so hard. But one night when we were snapping, I got really excited and opened it up, and it was some girl. It said, who the F are you and why are you snapping my man? I was like, me and Dean have been talking. And she was like, I'm his baby mama and girlfriend. So I literally told her everything that this man had said to me and that he was in love with me. But then I blocked him on everything because I didn't want to break up their family. Ladies, if a baby mama is involved, always do that little extra bit of stalking to make sure they're really not together. Follow my Insta.
Alright, here's a tutorial on how to do jelly fruit nails. First thing I'm gonna do is just clip off the tip of that nail and file it down.
Hope you guys liked this video and found it helpful. If you did, make sure you give it a thumbs up and subscribe to this channel. It does help support us, and let's know what videos you guys want to see.